Definitely a genius is a highly competent individual. So he has originality, both are very different. And therefore, naturally with originality meaning signals, insights, ideas, thoughts, intuitions, visualizations, reflections originating in that person. And that's the beginning of all great philosophers, great mystics, great seers, great rishis. They did not create an idea, it occurred to them. Most of such people, I would say, at least some of them made a mistake, I would say, that they mentioned in their treatise that they got the ideas from the God. God told me. Or I don't know, that is the interpretation given by those who popularize their ideologies. God gave them and told them. I don't know in what language God spoke to those ordinary people at that point of time. Actually, they were all originations. I know some well-known fiction even. Even they say it occurred to them, it was God helped them to finish it, especially poets. Most poets, very well-known poets in India especially, they say God revealed them those perspectives because that's the way they can tell other people. That's, I would say, that's a kind of a rationalization from their inability to admit that such ideas of greater dimensions occurred to them, so they attributed it to God. There's a famous work in Kerala state. The author is himself using a different name. I don't know what is his original name. His pen name is Poondanam. He says Lord Krishna told him. In fact, Lord Krishna told to Arjuna. That's what people think, which is not true. All the ideas in Bhagavad Gita are the ideas of Vedavyasa or any mystic who wrote it. Very simple logic. Advocate, lawyer Vivek. Simple logic. I think there is an editorial error or a direction error. What is Bhagavad Gita? The dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna inside the chariot in the war field. Was there a shorthand writer, somebody else observing them and taking notes about them and wrote about that? Not at all. But of course it's a beautiful myth. All great ideas can be popularized or introduced or familiarized or made believe in such the normal distribution only if such thoughts are attributed to divine origin. Then only majority of people can tolerate it. They just don't believe that so-called somebody among them, somebody whom they know, Patanjali or Vyasa or of that kind of people at that time, that someone whom they know created such a treatise. So these are all simple facts, nothing wrong about that. A mythical setting is very important in driving the criticality of a poet. That's okay. But they tell certain tragedies, and that is what the world is not able to benefit. The world is actually not able to benefit from the Quran or the Bible or the Gita because of the glory attached to that. You know? Because that is the perspective of the great Krishna. So how can I do that? How can it be? They could not even tolerate understanding the primary school classes from a teacher, and they claim that they comprehend all this great literature. Bible, Quran, Gita and all are masterly work of literature. It needs creative, analytic, reflective thinking for a long time to see what is written there. And anyway, there are so many interpreters. There are more than 100 interpretations and explanations of Bhagavad Gita alone. So that's okay. Why did we say this? Yeah, originality. So without creativity, okay, no, without originality, genius is impossible. A genius need not be creative in the sense of creating a new idea, a new invention, a new machine, a new perspective, etc., etc. A genius is genius. in self, in our context. At that point, people say Albert Einstein was a genius. It is wrong. He was a highly creative person only. All scientists and technologists who made major inventions and discoveries, they are all creative people. No doubt it is not my idea. Almost all sensible creativity researchers and thinkers have already declared this. In fact, there is even a statement that science and technology is a field where non-creative people can create. Anyway, they experiment with a lot of things. They have that willpower to deal around with all those things, and finally they discover that something new has come. That's all. Whereas a philosopher or a mystic or a poet is sitting down there, completely silencing their inner voice and listening to that origination, that originating tendency inside the human entity to originate perceptions. It is definitely possible. All my ideas I have written in my book are never my ideas. It just comes to me as I write. Therefore I know. But I also know that no other person told me all those things. How that or that some other person got it? Let us say some other person told me. How that other person got it? It originated in him or her, like Patanjali, like Dhanvantari or Kalidasa or Vagbhada or Bhaskara. Okay? But we don't have to originate. A lot of originations are already available there. Already plenty and plenty and plenty of things are there. We don't need to create anything at all. What is remaining for us to create? Science and technology, we don't have the laboratory. Even India does not have that level of laboratory to make any new more inventions in advances, physics and electronics and all that. We are only duplicating and imitating that. Coming back to the point, so originality is the measure of the genius. Just the other day, for example, I love this electrical equipments from childhood. I am very fond of the wonders of its performance. I have purchased a Sony brand small size instrument. On top of it is the CD. Then on the front it is a cassette recorder. That's what is most fascinating me, because I have a lot of cassettes. Then the radio. And because it was not used anyway, one day we found that when you press the switch, touch switch, the red light comes and turns off. It doesn't work. I was really pained by that. Almost 3 months or over. I called the Sony center. I took it to the normal local guy, and I said, "You just open it and see." You know. I have repaired even most complex Akai full 7-inch tape recorder which nobody could repair. Nitya perhaps knows that. And nobody could repair that. It was abandoned in the what you call wherever. I just made it perfectly alright, even now it is with me. But I don't have the mindset now. Anyway, even yesterday I made a desperate call to the Sony center and made him a lot of dialogue. Why don't you take it as your creativity? You just open it and see. He said, no, we don't do things like that. And actually it affected me. And in the evening around 7 o'clock, I just connected it and looked at it with all my love and went on pressing the start button. Then I pressed all the buttons, left, right, in full speed, half speed, main speed. At one point of time, the lights turned on and it started working. That's okay. But what I am talking is, I don't understand what made me do that. I had to press it down for about 10 minutes, not less than 10 minutes. I am just going on pressing the buttons. Okay, by that it worked, let us say so. But I never knew this, nor I did not know what I was doing. I just went on doing it like that. And then I told Amaya, that was the work of the double. So that's okay. Coming back. Today I have a critical turning point topic that will definitely trigger the originality or the engines of originality, what all that unique central nervous system process consequences which we name as originality would definitely get triggered. Definitely meaning that's what I do. Those who know me closely, that I have, whatever I have done in my life, they are all out of my originality only. That means it originated in me, that's all. I never prepared for anything. I was never a so-called good student. I never tried anything. I just get it within half an hour, I will do it. I have done it in various contexts, in various things, in various locations. So that's because, and from my own experiences only, I have developed various methods. So today I thought of discussing one method, and as a creativity researcher, I have analyzed the entire literature of creativity much deeply, and there are more than 42 techniques for creative thinking. 42, starting with the brainstorming, ending up with the synaptics and some advanced names and all that. But I know my framework is much, much, much more powerful. It can answer any questions in the world. That is the way I test it. And it is based on nothing, no creation. Just by my observations of what is going on in the nature process, what is going on in the behavior of the birds, the cats and the trees and the plants and the clouds. That's all. So the total method I call it violin, Violin. Luckily that beautiful name has come, not consciously created acronym. So V stands for, I have made one alteration. Actually it is IVO. So to get a feel I put the V first. So in the sequence it is invariant, variant, or variant, invariant, orbit, linkage, intentionality, network, linkage, linkage network. So while. So this is the first part. So we approach it in parts and then we will combine it to make it a whole. I see everything from a violin perspective. You can also try, and if you have time you can go through books on creativity techniques. Well-known techniques are by so-called Edward de Bono. Then there is various little techniques, and they are very right. They name it creativity techniques, but mine is a methodology of being sensitive to the environment, a methodology, a perspective. You know, perspective is a way of looking at things from variant, invariant, orbit, linkage, intentionality, network. And I am very sure the entire universe is nothing but a variant, invariant, orbit, linkage, intentionality network. Every machine is, every system is, every idea is, even the very human body is nothing but a violin. Of course, I have mentioned in at least 3 of my books, Missing Engines of Management Education, Master Thief. I don't know whether it is mentioned in Master Thief. Anyway, that's all not important here. Coming back to the points, we happen to start with the concept of genius. Genius is just a name. The word genius, the Sanskrit word for genius is sarga. In English letters, S-A-R-G-A. Sarga means sabhava nirmoksha. That's the meaning in Sanskrit original dictionary called as Amarakosam. It is written sabhava nirmoksha. Let me see whether I can show something written here also. So, creative attitude. This, whatever I am going to invite your attention to, exclusively they are the findings of longitudinal research. That means interviewing so many highly creative people, well known at that point of time, living with them, interacting with them, interviewing them, one of the topmost psychologists in the history of psychology, identified certain attitudes or certain mindsets. Attitude is not the correct word. Attitude I have just copied because that's the word he has used. But actually they are mind settings. Okay. His name is Abraham Maslow. Fully functioning. So this was written sometime. This article was written sometime in 1962. So fully functioning individual, I would straight away translate it into what a rose is a rose is a rose, or a cat is a cat is a cat, and then a human being is a human being is a human being, in the sense of a cat is a cat is a cat. There is no incomplete cats, nor incomplete roses, or incomplete grass, or trees, or plants, or any of the nature process materials at all, including every cell of the human body or any other organic system. So this is what we call, in fact, for our revised perspective to understand it, what? A genius in self. How? The screen got smaller. Stupid nonsense, yeah. And this is not okay. Great attitude, Abraham. So, at your perspective, competency now, you can more or less easily understand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 attributes, let us say, or 12 mind-setting structures and processes. We have discussed the three concepts: design, setting and process. Or three: design, setting, process, or intentions of the mind, or mental process or intellect process. Okay, one. So having interviewed so many highly creative people, Abraham Maslow, like any other social science research practice, or maybe in other research also, medical research also, they identified some of the invariants. Invariant meaning relatively solid core, definite aspects of anything or entity or phenomenon. Invariant, that is the invariant. Through this, I am trying to get you a feel of what I mean by variance and invariance, the topic of our session today, on this 4th of November 2023. So he, interviewing so many variants, variants, all right. So giving up the past. And before I continue, I would like to give you a brief background of the kind of sample individuals Abraham Maslow observed or analyzed or interacted with or interviewed at that point of time. Because even in that 1960s, great lot of people tended to believe that creativity or originality or genius are mostly about artistic performance and artistic philosophic literature, poetry, painting, dancing, music, etc. dimensions, especially painters and poets and fiction writers, and a little bit of dancers and musicians. So at that time, the world had a lot of very well-known philosophers, thinkers, writers like Wilder and Richard Feynman and people like that. So he interviewed them Why I said this is, the sample was a little bit biased. It was that side, biased in the sense that he wanted to generate a paper based on the perspective about creative individuals existent at that point of time. But you can also see that he could see the invariant of all those. That's why he finally coined the term fully functioning individual. Whether a creative individual or a so-called original or individual with originality or genius, though he interviewed only that kind of philosophers and mystics and poets and painters and all that, he finally came to the right point. What? All of them were fully functioning individuals. Completeness. So, whatever engines they happened to have, they were all triggered and trained and rigorously shaped and evolved into its possible probable full bloom for that point of time, for that person. No? This can be further explained by another axiom in the philosophy as well as in fundamental psychology, sociology, and all social sciences, that a human being by birth is an empty mind. Empty mind, which we have discussed. Empty mind, there is a Latin or whatever term called tabula rasa. That is why it is all the time written, which means actually empty mind only. Into that empty mind, whatsoever things, competences, mind is a general term for intelligence and intellect and all those together. So a little baby you can imagine, complete zero, complete nothingness. But there is the potentiality or the entelechy of the mind available there. If not, how can the so-called mental process could be induced into or filled in? Okay? So it was like an empty slate. So tabula rasa, it actually means empty slate only, Rasa meaning slate. Tabula meaning slate, I suppose. Now, just today I have made a posting in the Facebook. Nowadays I do only original ideas in the Facebook. I have written my declaration to the philosophers and seers and mystics of the world, colon. It was not only the mind empty for the human being, even the body, intellect and spirit was empty. All of them have to be developed. And I am very happy to tell you that though most of my ideas are my ideas, this is a path-breaking idea, actually. If I had made this in the United States of America, I am sure it would be telecast in the TV, or I would have been interviewed by the concerned journals and newspapers, because I am making a statement of a different kind, parallel to the well-known axiom that empty mind, it is not only empty mind, it is empty body, empty intellect and empty spirit. All of them have to be triggered, expanded, evolved, so that it becomes a fully functioning human entity. And that's a side point. Come on. So, going back to the background of the slides which I am going to show you, the 11 attributes or propensities or mind settings in our language, mind settings or mental design setting process of the highly evolved original genius individuals. They were all variants. Variants meaning more than 700 kind of whatever, so many numbers of candidates, a large sample. Okay? Sorry. See, see, it is not a proper program. Okay? Variance. They are all variants. Variant meaning that which varies, that which is different from the other. That is called a variant, okay? So, interviewing that many variants, he identified a certain invariant principle operating in them. And one of that was what? So, investigating so many variants, he identified a relatively invariant aspect of them. So, by which I wanted to also parallelly get a grasp of what are variants and what are invariants. When those 700 plus people Maslow interviewed, when they were variants and their invariant mind-setting factors were identified, it implies that all other entities are also variants. Entire population of human beings are variants. Of course, some invariants run through them. You know, the motivation for food, the hunger motive, the sexual motive, the security motive, the safety motive, the ego motive, the self-esteem motive, the what you call acceptance motive, self-realization motive, and things like that. Invariants. So, going back to from variant invariant to the attribute, one of the invariant aspects. Giving up the past, that means they were capable of detaching, just to throw away, drop the girls of their past. See, they were not victims of their history. Obviously, Krishna was not a victim of his developmental background. He was born inside a jail. Buddha was not the victim of his royal background. Jesus was not a victim of the poorest of poor kind of a birth and development inside a cattle shed. Okay? Our current Prime Minister Narendra Damodar Das Modi, born and brought up in a very, very, very poor family, very poor in the sense that his mother went for household work in the neighborhood houses, and with that money only she purchased food and clothing for the children. And from that, so past is not a block for them. I was born into this family, I am having only this. I have only this. I don't have proper education. I am not blocked by the memory that I am not properly educated. I am not born into a very dull situation. So you can expand it into any possible probable aspects of the past, including your egoistic past, including the feelings of stacked up, STACKED, stacked up feelings of disappointment and worthlessness by which you have made a social image as well as a self-image. See? Do you get the point, Tintin? Yeah, that's all. Giving up the past. It is not that you forgot your past. You are no more remote controlled by memories of the past, impressions of the past. What value they have other than the memory? This we have discussed. They are all just memories. Frequently remembering that, continuing what we have been doing all the time, the memories of the past also may get a little bit reinforced. So memories of the past can even come to the small point of your 4 trials to try shooting the gun failed. No, because that is just 5 minutes past. Oh, I could not. My first 4 shots are out of the target, so how can I get into the 5th one? Correct shot. Or whatever I tried to get in through this competitive exam, I failed. So how can I? See, even that is past only. One right now, then 9:30 is past today. So-called measured time called 9:30 to this kind of a night time of this planet Earth. It is past. It can never be recalled or redeemed. Anyway, this is the characteristic identified by a great researcher, interviewing almost a very wide range of highly accomplished so-called original genius individuals, including Martin Luther King and I don't know about Nelson Mandela. I mean, all range from social genius to technological genius to poetic genius to literature genius and all that. Plus analyzing the biography of whatever well-known people available at that point of time. Giving up the past. So, next invariant factors. So, you start with the invariant. I told you in the beginning that though I have put the name violin, yeah. Yeah, that is all wonderful. That is all the majority. That is in the social, moral, ethical context. Do not forget your past. That is to remind some kind of a good discipline required for ruthless and unethical people. Okay. Not for people like you, not for people beyond plus 3 sigma. Then I wonder, why did you not ask, what about your learning in engineering? Would you like to forget that also? No. It is called giving up the past. That is under your choice. I told you I have interviewed some 3 or 4 or 5 divorced men. I could not interview a divorced lady. They were all in senior positions, including top IAS people included. They were all still worried and bothered about that. One of them became a drunkard, and as a result he lost his job. He was chairman of a major corporation. And that giving up the past included all feelings of revenge and retaliation and hatred included. That kind of past, Nitya. Not the past of your learning. Not necessarily the past of your place of birth and the wonderful people you were having as your childhood friends and the trees and the sing and well and flowers and garden and your father or mother and teachers and all that. No. Okay. Whatever past that blocks, that regulates, that restrains, controls or delimits your journey towards fully functional human being, that's all. Is that clear? That's all. Why most of the great majority of people have self-doubt? The 5th mindset, mental block. On what basis a given person, B.Tech, MBA from top institutes in the world, including from London Business School, still carrying a self-doubt? On what basis? I'm talking about a top academic performer. As well as holding, I'm actually talking about one of the vice presidents of a top IT company in India. 3 vice presidents and one of them. He was a top scorer from London Business School. Terrible self-doubt by very questionnaire data. In fact, we had an argument during the session. He said the questionnaire is wrong. So, that kind of a self-doubt. Ultimately, the self-doubt whether I can be at the level of the mind setting of Krishna, just for example, or whatever I understand as enlightenment, even when every mystic is declaring that every given moment is a moment for enlightenment, there is a doubt. Who were the models for enlightenment for Jesus, or Krishna, or Buddha, or Tagore, or Ramanujam, or Dhanvantari, or Bhaskara, or Vagbada, or Kalidasa? When we know about these people, why we don't try? Let me tell you, that's what I tried. Whatever little, anyway, I don't care little, big or anything. I am completely okay with whatever I have done. I don't have even a single moment where I repent about my life. Even though from somebody else's perspective, having no thing to cook, I have gone with the mother of Mandra and Amaya to the neighborhood place and stole tomatoes. And we just boiled the tomatoes for our supper, not for one day, for months together. But I never felt anything at that time, and I don't feel anything now also. So what? What is the rule? That everybody should be eating every time, or what is the rule that my life is not to be like this? This is my life, that includes not having food, so what? So past includes even social perceptions, that I should be like this. And about that also I suppose I posted something in the Facebook today. I would say all of you must go through my Facebook, okay? Because I put some of the ideas that we discussed in the program and some ideas which we never even touched in the program. Only Naveen and once in a while Nitya. I request you to go through that and you take any of those ideas or all of those ideas and interpret it and create a small booklet and put it in what you call Kindle. I told you these are not my ideas. So don't worry that you are borrowing my ideas. They are all ideas which you understood and write a book. What is that? See my posting today. Oh, you cannot say this, okay. This is the way and style I am blessed. Why should I bother about the way and style of other people's blessing?
People's blessings. Blessings.
Okay. This idea I got because when this PowerPoint was just quickly made by Mandra, and I just went through that, and when I saw this giving of the past, I got the idea, then I put that in the Facebook. That's all. So, YN is the acronym for Variant Invariant Orbit Linkage So, train yourself to remind yourself to what extent you are blocked, you are carrying the girls of your past. Identify anything that comes to your mind and just drop the girl forever. Okay? Now, point number 2. Giving up the future. Come on. If giving up the past is what I interpreted for the time being in small sentences, what could be giving up the future? Come on. Do it. Okay. Go on. No, you used another word also, anticipations. No, you said anticipations also, very good. Expectation and anticipation are totally different things. Expectation can have a much larger time scale. Anticipation is something that you expect tomorrow, or next day, or right now. You are on the road, your tire is punctured and a car is coming and you anticipate that he may stop and help you. Expectation is that whenever you are in trouble, some messiah will come and help you. Both are totally different. But both are applicable, giving up the future. No anticipation, no expectation. What anticipation, what expectation a little baby has? Beautiful point. A beautiful point. All anxieties, wonderful. All possible, probable anxieties are nothing but originated. We are talking about the originality of human beings. Most of the depressions and worries and thoughts and evil thoughts and good thoughts and bad thoughts and intentions and anticipations and they are all originated. That is the origination they are all trained with. And take note of this and keep a note of this, and whenever you get a chance to address the public, even if the topic is whatever, create a context where you give this information, this valid information to people, telling that in the future you have to be creative. The time to live like a normal, comfortable zones and arrangements created by the governments and the social systems and survival easily, more or less easily rendered by all the systems, that is gone. Now, unless you are at least having that originality, not creativity per se, unless you develop that tuning with that original self of you or the genius in self of you, it may be a little difficult. I am not talking about you. All of you are living in relatively comfortable zones and very competent people. But even then, there is no certainty that the coming 20, 30, 40 years will be without any problems. Not problems created by you, problems induced by we, other people, other settings. Because the world is in a fast pace towards absolutely unethical dimensions. What is going on in Israel-Gaza border? What is going on in Chernobyl? Ukraine and Russia? What is going on in the various institutions all over the world? Absolute conspiracies and manipulations are going on. Economic manipulation, religious manipulation, administrative manipulation, official manipulation. What is going on there? Where is the safe place? Even the so-called home, the four walls of a house does not guarantee absolute happiness and peacefulness with the very husband or wife and the children. Even the very children become a threat to the peace of the parents. The great majority of parents in the world today are worried and frustrated and depressed and defeated by their children. Look at those poor father, mother or poor young man and woman, one day they get so thrilled about a young baby and with all kinds of so-called anticipations and expectations which Anirudh was pointing out, nurture the children, the girl and the boy, and by the age of 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 18, 19, 20, 23, 30, 35, where do they go? How many of them have the integrity to respect and at least show gratitude to their parents? The so-called Mata Pita Guru Deva, at least in the Indian context, how many of them have even the basic element of gratitude? And what do you think the mindset of the parents? A father, for example, let's say a transport bus driver. This is a direct case which I know when I was in Kerala state. He always used to talk about his daughter. That she will get a first class, then she will train him, and I would like to make him, or whatever, all kinds of dreams. He used to come to my room and discuss about that. I used to wonder, how can a driver think like this? So even though it is not nice to think like that. But after a few years or 2-3 years, I heard that he committed suicide when the girl got only just passed in class 10. And I am sure, at least in South India, as much as I am a creative observer of every moment that is happening in society, a great majority of fathers are they have lost their self-worth and meaning in life because their great dreams about their son collapsed. You may not be able to know. I know most of you have highly performing children. But look at a father living in today's world, working in maybe some average income, let us say so, when the moment he realizes that the neighborhood child is a distinction holder and getting into engineering or medicine, whatever of their kind of dreams, and my son got to a just pass or not getting into selection, and not got to selection, what do you think? His mind, is it a kind of a piece of stone? Despite his continuous reminder that, oh my son, you have to get this or whatever, or at least he anticipated in his mind. So they realize that their life is gone. The meaningfulness, the purpose of life of a man is gone when he realizes that his son or daughter are poor performers in the very schools. I used to wonder, look at the annual turnover of the so-called coaching centers in India. More than 100 plus crores. Coaching centers, what you call JIT, whatever, IIT entrance, etc. So lakhs and lakhs of children are spending a lot of money. And their parents hope, false hope. No doubt, 70% of them will not even touch the minimum pass. But they spend such a lot of money. And people say anybody can dream, anybody can try, and they are trying, wasting a lot of money. They have no background in academics. And they have no training in how to learn. And such people are mucking up IIT entrance and all those things, IIM entrance or central service and all that. They cannot answer the analytic questions. To what extent they can learn in 2 years or 3 years of coaching? Okay, these are all, these and many other thoughts you can also develop. But understand, we are talking about the basic predilections, the tendencies of the mind settings of the highly original human beings. They never bothered about the future. And mind you, they were all great performers, world-renowned people. Like Michael Jackson or Madonna, this I remember, or Martin Luther King. And many other poets and Nobel Prize winners he analyzed directly or indirectly. Like Edmund Hillary said, I did not try Everest to become somebody or to be known, etc., etc. Because Everest is there, I tried. That's all. I climbed. And he himself declared that at 3,000 feet height, my heart was trembling with fear. But I took the next step to prove whom? To prove maybe to himself. So, giving up the future. So, any more ideas anybody wants to say? I'm sure all of you can talk something. Write down and you talk, but you talk to other people. In a relevant context of guiding or mentoring or giving a talk. Yeah. Yeah, please. Absolutely marvelous. Yes, correct. Can you explain it further? Exactly. Exactly. In that blind, what you call horse-blinded journey, you may not see wonderful opportunities lying on the sides, right? Exactly. Yeah, correct, Tintin. And my life was a precise example for that also, Tintin. Yeah. And when you are really in tune with that so-called, the other side of this is the well-known to be in the present. That he has not mentioned. Because that is not a perspective mentioned by any of the so-called original people. They are philosophic ideologies to be in the present. Okay? So, not be a victim of the past. For so I told you, I am a particularly typical eccentric example. I have done this PowerPoint presentation, even you know. And during the entire 3 COVID times, I did it for the senior police officers, and the commando forces, and plus including the students. Hundreds of times. But right now, I do not remember how to do it. I tried my best. That much, I don't remember even what happened yesterday. In fact, I trained myself by the direction of my great guru, father, that he told me one day that memory is our greatest problem. Of course, I did not understand at that point of time. It took about 30 years for me to understand what he said. Memory is a problem. And by the way, you have to know this to incorporate traces or elements of your understanding about genius to your children. That is your responsibility, I tell you. Otherwise, just do not insult your sitting in this program. Your ultimate contribution to the world is your children. Those who are young children, of course, beyond an age it is very difficult to influence them. Or you don't forget about your children. If you contribute, you should help the development and evolution of one of your junior colleagues, or if you give a clue to you and your boss, why not? He or she may not accept it, that's a different story. A good number of my trainees, they don't even remember that they have been trained by me and their training point in life was because of me. They don't even remember, they don't even talk about that to anybody. Which I don't care also. But what I am telling is, you have to do your way. That is nature process. Fire is fire is fire. Like a cat is a cat is a cat, fire will burn. Fire cannot come down. A lot of people some 20 years back used to tell me, sir, you are talking at a high level. Come down to the level of audience. I said, I am not available. Everybody is coming down to the level of audience only. The preachers in the churches and other local mystics and gurus, they are all getting huge audiences because they are all coming down to the level of the uneducated, sorry, not uneducated, unprepared minds of the large majority. That itself is nonsense. In the sense that, who are these gurus? Including what I am talking about, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar or Jaggi Vasudev or Osho or Chinmayananda or Ranganathananda or such people, and they come down to the level of audience, what they can talk. How can you come down to the level of audience? Then how will you lift them? You be in your level. But you should communicate in such a way so that they can comprehend it. That is the important thing. And you know the normal distribution population. Only 97% of the normal distribution of population are below plus 1.5 sigma level. Their intelligences are of that sensitivity only. They just cannot comprehend the invariance of any of the Upanishads, any of the philosophies, any of the religious texts, any of the even simple things. They cannot even comprehend the essence of a world-class film. They cannot comprehend the essence of a world-class poem. And they claim they comprehend the God. Bullshit. They just blindly believe. Let them believe. I am no doubt. This is a dialogue between you and me. They definitely need their beliefs. That is their only saving force. No doubt about that. But it would have been better if they progressed beyond and found peace and happiness in life. Because they approach their God for peace and happiness and blessings only, which they don't get. They are unhappy people, evidenced by the social conflicts, individual conflicts, institutional conflicts, corporate conflicts, international conflicts, and family conflicts, even between beloved husband and wife and beloved siblings. Get the point? Do they get a trace of the invariant of what they understand from the Gitas and the Bibles? And what they listen and what they claim believing? Okay, these are all explanations I am making. I want every one of you to make much better explanations and examples than me, wherever you get an audience. Or whether you get an audience or not, that should be the personal journey of you. Just like that. That Mount Everest is inside you, just to climb it. If you get a Nobel Prize, okay, good. Yeah. All these are not mine, these are all directly copied from an article written by Abraham Maslow. This is the word he has used. But of course he gives paragraphs and pages of explanation to this. That I don't, if you want you can locate it and read it, but I want you to make your own understanding about what this is. Because the English word narrowing and English word consciousness, you have some consciousness about that, and you have some tip of the referent of perception about that, and we can create linkages of that. This is an invariant condition. Every one of you will have varied expressions of this. Every one of you is nothing but a variance of genius entities. So that means this invariant must be present inside you, which it is capable of. This is capable. This is possible with a local guy who is in love with a girl. He is all the time with her in his mind, during his sleep, during his eating. That is called a narrowing of consciousness. Consciousness is not bombarded with the high traffic of the marketplace, of the society. Therefore, they don't interact much with other people. They are mostly, so sorry to say, they are mostly so-called introverts, or capable of, even if extroverts, capable of spending time with their own entity and its potentialities. Okay? Or what is so-called meditation, so-called incubation to discover that operating principle in you? It is nothing but a conscious activity to narrow down the wide flowing river of consciousness, preventing it with the dam of your incubation and channeling it through the pipeline and rotating the turbine of your spirit. When you are in absolute romantic love, you do not know the world. People say, forget the world when I am in the company of my beloved. That is called a narrowing of consciousness. And I am a writer. I know when I write, just writing is going on, nothing else. It has certain advantages as well as some practical disadvantages. That's why you can see the history of the highly competent, original and genius individuals. Their practical domestic life has been always in trouble because they are all the time in that. So the wife or the husband thinks that he or she is not in love with him or her. But it may be a problem with creative people, it may be a problem with original people, but it will not be a problem with the genius. That is where genius is different from creative and original, according to my understanding and my finding. The narrowing of consciousness on a point. At a practical level, when Drona asked his 3 disciples, what do you see? One said, I see the sky and the tree and the bird. The other said, I see the bird. And the third one, Arjuna, said, I see only the eye of the bird. There is focus of attention and along with the narrowing of consciousness, consciousness is disturbed or corrupted by other kinds of unnecessary, needless, irrelevant elements. Even the self is absent there. Or rather, they are capable of narrowing down, focusing their consciousness on a single topic. That's why every day morning, conventionally, the social designers introduced the need of prayers in the morning. You start your morning with a moment of focusing on the deity. At least 1 minute of narrowing of consciousness. So they don't understand this. Therefore, the concept of a deity or a puja, vigraham, puja, idol was given so that at least by some belief, people will do that. But the purpose is to give some experience in narrowing down the consciousness which may be required in their work life or in their relationship with others or in managing their own turmoil of minds. Okay? That's why you close your eyes. It will help you narrowing the consciousness to a great extent. Then you stay in a relatively silent place. That also will help. Otherwise, the trained sensations will continuously feed in sounds and data into your consciousness. And think more about this. And see how your consciousness, right now your consciousness is more or less narrowed down onto what you are listening or what you are thinking about, what you hear. That's why even when I do training programs in the companies, I want them to extend beyond 7 o'clock p.m. 2 hours hours beyond 7 o'clock is much better than 8 hours in the daytime. Because of the night condition and the energy field of the night influencing a lot on the human organic process, narrowing of consciousness is relatively free. But too much of light and too much of other situations in the current training programs is a mental block. Sometimes I used to take the participants out into the forest and the mountains, dark mountains. Ganesh Raman is not here. He is the only one participant who has come with me for such a program. No, in the dark mountain tops. Ganesh Raman is here? No. And individual training programs, that's why I always ask the audiences, what is the ideal number of trainees in a training program? One. One and only one. It is of great advantages for the training as well as it is of great advantage for the trainee. What happens in a crowded classroom? Even though the child is earnestly looking at the face of the teacher, his unconscious, his non-conscious is aware of the social climate around. He is sitting in the company of 30 other students. His behavior would be entirely different if he is sitting alone in the class. That's why tuition centers are really good than the conventional schools. Because in a tuition center, one or two guys or three guys are sitting individually before a teacher. Their attention will get a little more narrowed down rather than sitting in the classroom. And so on and so forth. Yeah, we are, by the way, this 1, 2, 3 is in so-called rank order, hierarchical order. Maslow was a man of hierarchy. Of course, the universe is hierarchical. Mount Everest is taller than some mountain elsewhere. Okay. So, there is a hierarchy in existence. It is a fact, nobody can deny that. Whatever democratic principles cannot completely control it. So, increasingly the variables are going into deeper levels of invariance. Rather, innocence was an invariant condition of geniusness or a fully functioning individual. By the way, don't forget all these attributes are attributes of what Maslow calls, or what you can also accept, the attributes of a fully functioning cat of human being. By the way, cats are example. No past, no future, completely innocent, completely unaffected by any of the memories of the past. And they are all innocent in the sense that they are what they are. There is no pretension. There is no pretentious cat. There is no unethical cat. There is no conflicted cat. There is no double-minded cat. There is no cat which talks something outside and does something inside and believing something else inside. Okay? That's called innocence. Not innocence meaning what to call talking truth or anything. That's a state of mind. Because if you think about the previous things, not much of past burden, not much of anxiety about the future, not much of what you call traffic jam and uncouth, filthy things in the consciousness, then naturally it is called innocence. Get the point, Parvati? Yeah, that's all. And like every child is innocent. That's why there is an axiom that creativity or originality is like having the mind of a child. When the feudal king and company came with a little baby and told him, "This is your child, you take it," the Zen monk accepted it. "Oh, give it to me." After 6 months, the same people come and tell him that this is our child, give it to me. "Oh, take it back." So, have that innocence of mind. Do not keep a double purpose in mind. Okay? Be cool, be a nobody. Innocence is otherwise in Zen language we can say a mind of no mind, a nobodiness, like a little baby. You know, a beggar comes and calls it, it goes. A villain comes and calls, it goes. It is so innocent that even a wild elephant does not attack a little baby. Because innocence is an energy field. That's what Mahatma Gandhi has written in his Experiments with the Truth. You just be calm when a barking, atrocious dog comes towards you. It will run till you and it will stop. It will stop. Because the energy field of any other mind setting, aggression or fear, is very, very revealing to the sensitivities of every animal and especially, every animal. An innocent mind is not even afraid. Like the innocent mind sitting before Sarah there. It is simply innocent. You all were having that capability of the mind. Be aware of that. I am telling, be aware of that. Do not carry. Okay, even if you carry, for the time being, drop the girl. Drop the girl. Yes. Yeah. Fifth one. Yeah, more or less related to, in a sense, loss of ego. They don't have an ego. This, if you notice, all great people deny, no, I am only like you, you know. That's why even great Rishi said, I am also like you. Actually, that is not a true statement, but they say that because they believe that. They know. Patanjali or Vyasa or Dhanvantari or Krishna knows that there is ultimately no difference between the me and the you. They understand the invariantness of the statement Aham Brahmasmi. They understand the invariant truth that every entity is a creation of the nature process and every entity is equally significant in this nature process. Therefore, what ego? Ego meaning I am this, I am that, etc. People are scared to lose their ego. They carry maybe a little bit of instances when they were intimidated by stupid, foolish people around them. So they may realize that they also should carry an ego so that others will respect them and mind them. Quite possibly. But be strategic, like Krishna. If you want to show a piece of your fire, show that. And then say, I am sorry. Like a samurai. Like what Bruce Lee says in the films. Do not fight with your mind. Do not fight with your anger. Self-forgetful. Don't mind about that, as I told you. These are research data. Interviewing close to thousands of people. There is a lot of individual differences, though they are invariants, not compulsorily present in every sample. Get the point, Nitya? All these 12 factors are not with everyone. A musical genius is different from a poetic genius. Okay? So, some of them were self-forgetful. They would wear proper dress, they don't take care of their body, they don't take bath on proper time, they don't remember many of their own things, they don't remember their commitments to their wives or spouses or children or even official things. Because they forget everything, because they are constantly in the plane of their research in their mind. That's it. And this is nevertheless an explanation of loss of ego only, loss of self-consciousness. I am this, I am that, again, mostly. A lot of people are self-conscious. Like most of the upper caste people in India are very self-conscious about their caste position. A lot of men in India are self-conscious about their masculinity. They think that females should be under their control. Females should be kind of slaves for them. Because I am a man. They are all carried away by their consciousness that I am a man and you are a woman. Or you are the wife. So I can talk anything, I can do anything to you. That's why if I told you I analyzed the history of at least 80 plus creative geniuses in the history of the world. They were all very nice people, but most of them had a very difficult family life and most of them lived alone. Because when the wife says, I don't love you, okay, you go. Which they took it as an insult. Actually, they allowed their freedom. When they constantly tested whether the husband is in same ardent love with its whatever forces, they were not able to express that all the time. Because they were neither husbands nor men. They were just a searching entity. In fact, most of the so-called creative geniuses were neither masculine nor feminine. And there are research data showing that most of the creative geniuses of the mankind, they were a little more feminine in their attitudes, their behaviors, their value systems. They were kind of humble and kind of allowing people to do that. On the other hand, most of the creative original females, they were mostly masculine, a little bit aggressive, little bit dominating, showing psychologically masculine tendencies by psychometric tests. Because they don't belong to even a gender. They don't belong to the rigid mind settings of a gender. That's what has to be understood here. Alright. Yeah. Fears disappear. This is his own language. Fears disappear. That means when you are undertaking a journey to your self-discovery, when you are trying to know what is the fully functioning aspect of me as a totality, or what is the catness of me, definitely there will be initial fears, but gradually all kinds of fear vanish. Not fear for the police or anything like that. Fear of existence will vanish. They are ready to take risks. They will try anything. That has become a little bit of a problem for them. They will try anything. Lessening of defenses and inhibition. Defense meaning you justify everything. Defense. You do not accept the interference of anything else. You will have a defense. Whatever somebody says, you will say no or you will prove your point. They don't defend. If you say I am an idiot, okay. If you say, this is my child, okay. And if you say, this is not my child, again okay. No difference. No arguments. Okay, take it. And inhibitions. They don't have any inhibitions. They talk what they want to talk. In a meeting, if they don't like what is going on, they will just get out of the room and go. They will not pretend. They will not inhibit the spontaneity. If they feel like hugging somebody, they will hug. That's what happened in a recent political polemic in Kerala state. A wonderful genius level of leadership guy called Suresh Gopi, he just touched gently the shoulder of a journalist who asked an intimidating question. Right now, that journalist with the political agenda has filed a case against him for what you call under Article 395 of sexual intimidation. Publicly before 100 cameras and whatever, when she asked an intimidating question, which is an intimidating question, she just patted her shoulders, or he is a very tall man. Tall people have a tendency to touch the less taller person, first of all. And he is a huge, hefty guy, Suresh Gopi. So he gently held the shoulder of that girl and said something. Okay, next time we will see in the election, something like that. And you can see that video, she genuinely smiles at it and continues to question him. And it happened around 2 o'clock in the daytime, and by 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, he made a complaint. Written complaint to the police. And it is registered, FIR registered under whatever article. What is that article number, Vivek? Vivek is a guy who is going to sleep, I suppose. Okay. What is Suresh Gopi? He was the hero. He has touched the body, hugged the body of so-called glamorous, beautiful, sexy girls n number of times. And what people see in a film is only one hug. But before the camera, between action and cut, he may have to do it at least 3-4 times. And this lady is obviously a non-elegant woman. She is a clearly non-elegant woman who has no real signals of anything glamorous or beautiful or graceful or elegance in her at all. And about 35 years old plus. And of course, it is her psychological inferiority only, that's a different story. We are not going into that details. So what I said is, Suresh Gopi has no inhibitions. He is after all 67 or 73, whatever. He himself has okay, and there is no problem. Okay, Anirudh, thanks a lot. So not inhibited. In fact, I have hugged so many girls. I have hugged a girl in the classroom when she made a wonderful analysis of a parabolic analysis, and I openly hugged her in the classroom. Nobody made any noise because it was so obvious for those people why I did that. Here also it was obvious, but vested interest. So what I am talking is something else. Inhibitions. They are not inhibited. And there is, again parallelly, there was another incident happened in Kerala state about 4 years back in a huge auditorium before thousands of audience, so-called Shah Rukh Khan, SRK. kind of a chief guest. He came on the stage, and there was a marvelous, elegant, competent singer by name Remy Tommy. And after her singing, he just like that lifted her in the hands, both the hands, and made a rotation and put her down, and she laughed and she expressed her absolute thrill in that. And that Remy Tommy is 100 times beautiful and sexy than this stupid looking journalist woman. And she has filed a complaint in which she has written that this Suresh Gopi, who is of the age of more than her father, done it in such a public thing that he touched her with sexual motive. That is written in the FIR. That's another story, which is not correct to describe it completely here. So anyway, Suresh Gopi, and he is immensely rich also. He has no inhibitions. A film star has no inhibitions. An artist has no inhibitions. If he has inhibitions, a film actor, if he has inhibitions, he just cannot act in the film. Because he has to show his emotions, his other activities, other expressions, other scenes in front of at least 6, 7, 8 other light boys, cameraman, assistant cameraman, the trolley man, the director, everybody else. Even the most intimate bedroom scene is taken, there will be minimum 10, 12 people. So they have no inhibitions. Like people, girls go for Miss Universe, Miss World selections. They have to walk naked before the selection board. They will do that. Unless that inhibition is over, they cannot be freaking out on the catwalk. So inhibitions. Why in the history of the world much less number of females are creative and original and genius? Why more than 97% of the all creations are done by the so-called man, not the woman? Because the female just get inhibited by her own sexuality. Maybe it is contributed by social evils, social communication, other social agendas and other intimidating factors. Yes, true. But she is reserved. A lot of driving school teachers, they don't want to train a girl for driving. They seldom a female is a real good, competent, expert driver. Because they drive the car the way they walk on the road, without looking left and right, without looking back and all those things. That's the way they walk on the road, you know. They are inhibited on the road. So they are inhibited in their mindset, so they cannot be very clear drivers. A lot of drivers say when you are overtaking a car driven by a girl, be careful. Because she does not look left right. Because she is not supposed to look left right when she is walking on the road. They are very inhibited. It is all over the world. You may think that the Western ladies are very open and all that. No. They are psychologically inhibited. Why I say this is, in the context of genius and originality, you can look into the history. There is not more than 3% of females, either philosophers or poets or fiction writers or film directors or even in so-called scientific field. So you also should get out of your inhibitions. Not to be naked or anything like that, but be naked in your mind to talk what you want to talk. But of course strategically, to be creative and to boldly try the uncharted territories of your life, learning new things, reading new things, thinking new things, writing new things, interacting with new people, very carefully, whatever it is. Okay? strength and courage. Obviously, how many of you have the strength? Strength meaning not physical strength, it is what psychology calls the strength of the will. Of course, all of you have. Anyway, we are sitting there right now, despite possibly objections or disinterested background of other people, whatever it is. They say most of the time, so-called original people, genius individuals are not much liked by the society around. Because they will say what they want to say, they will do what they want to do, and they will behave the way they behave. Though none of them ever intimidates or injures anybody. That's interesting there. All these original and genius individuals are absolutely uncorrupt and ethical people. Not creative people. Creative people are very different. They can be evil, dangerous, unethical, crooked criminals. There is a difference between creativity and originality. This originality happens when you are in tune with your entity, when you are in tune with your deity, when you are in tune with your attendant spirit. When you are in tune with your attendant spirit, you can never be unethical. You can never be aggressive, antisocial, criminal, evil person. And of course, without creativity, nobody can do criminality and evil activities. They are all very creative people. All the criminals are creative people. Alright. Now, courage, of course. Obviously, they don't belong to the past, they don't belong to the future. They are like innocent babies, they don't mind walking around in the midnight. They are innocent, then why should they be courageous? No, it is little complex. Taoistic receptivity. Tao, which we have discussed, meaning in good flow, in good tuning with everything. That's called Tao. Chinese philosophy. Taoistic receptivity, that means they are open to everything. They are just open to strangers. They are just open to experiences in life. They don't classify experiences in life and feel to put down. They welcome even the tragedies and miseries and they are in love with that. They don't mind receiving any ideas, like the creative people. Creative people can be what you call blind slaves of ideas. But original and genius individuals know. They are able to be receptive to even the most contradictory ideas. Yeah, that's also true. Okay, they are very receptive. In the Taoistic is nature process related. By Taoistic receptivity only, Dhanvantari could know the properties of the plants and the seeds. Bhaskara could know the astronomical positions. Patanjali could know what he could know. They are receptive to the Tao of the nature. Tao is basically a nature process concept. They can receive close to, they can receive friendship, or they can feel friendly with the birds and the plants and the trees and the flowers and the mist and the rains and the mountains and the rivers. Especially, not that much maybe with human beings sometimes. Because their antenna of reception are in tune with the original antenna of the human entity. If the power of sensitivity of a cat is this much, what could be the power of sensitivity possible, probable for a human cat? evidenced by the rishis and other highly competent people in the history of the world. That means they are basically Taoic in their mindset. What I call firm, correct, complete, elegant Taoic. Then receptivity and other aspects naturally coincide. Yeah, full lust, spontaneity. All these are interconnected. They are very spontaneous. That's what happened to Suresh Gopi also. Somewhat like our Sara Bibi here, very spontaneous. Yes, she is the youngest in the group. That is also one reason. But anyway, youngest in this group. Parvati also was like that, but Parvati has become a senior official. She is now heading the HR of a top company in the world. So she has become little bit less spontaneous, it seems. Or maybe she is restricted due to the artificiality of the screen in between. I don't know. Or maybe quite possibly the artificiality of the interaction. I know Parvati very well. She is very spontaneous, wonderful being. Maybe because of too much of sensitivity, she feels very rigid because of this distance between she and, this use of this medium. But Sara is a freak. Be spontaneous. Even if in your good, even in a group, if a little baby comes to you, just take it up and give a hug. By the way, be careful when you hug a little girl, okay? Because now the system is neurotic. Indian society has become neurotic. So, but perhaps even with boys you have to be careful. I'm just joking in between, referring to some of the newspaper reports and commentaries. Anyway, that's what every artist is. That's every painter is, every dancer is. I told you, I interviewed Pratima Bedi. I don't know whether you know her. You can look into the internet. I would say one of the most dynamic, eccentric dancer in the history of India. In fact, some people suggested that out of, I had interviewed already Mallika Sarabhai, Mrinalini Sarabhai, Swapna Sundari, Swarmishta Sarkar and all that. Then a lot of people suggested me, nothing doing you. If you want to interview a really creative genius in dance, you must interview Pratima Bedi. I said, how can I contact her? He said, that I will arrange. You know, when I entered the campus, the way she looked at me, I remember, as if she knows me since my childhood. And who am I? Actually an absolute nobody. Because she was a world-renowned dancer at that time. The wife of who? Kabir Bedi. Very immensely rich. Okay? And she was known, what you call, whatever. Perhaps you may not remember her because she died some time back and she was a little bit elderly. Okay? You can see her internet photographs. You can see the power of that lady by the very photograph. And I thought I would get about 10 or 15 minutes. And there were 2-3 other people. Actually, it was a relatively calm day for her. That's why my meeting was arranged. Otherwise, there will be 20-30 people always. There were 2-3 other people. Despite that, I know, you can know. Because she gave me extra care because I was new. Other people were known to her or maybe regular visitors. And I would not see her again. I came from some, maybe of course, I represented as an interviewer at the Institute of Management Ahmedabad. That all, she doesn't care. She wouldn't care even the Prime Minister of India. That's a kind of freak out. So I was so taken aback by her spontaneity. I felt fish out of water, actually speaking. I thought, no, on what basis? I was wondering what was going on. Anyway, fullest spontaneity. Fullest expressiveness is express. There is a little baby, like a creative genius. You will express whatever you feel, you talk, you express your emotions. If you feel like crying, you will cry before public, like Michael Jackson cried. I even appreciate Narendra Damodar Das Modi crying. And in an interview when he talked about his mother, actually he was sobbing. He could not continue talking when she talked about his mother going into other houses to wash the plates and to make money for their food. Not a doubt, Narendra Damodar Das Modi is a real genius. I am not talking about political, I don't have any political ideology, nothing. I have analyzed his biography. He is one of the topmost genius leaders in the history of the world, actually, as a human being. Politically, he has to do a lot of things by the party who is representing him, and that all I don't know. So, fullest expressiveness. And finally, the fusion of the person with the world. World meaning not technical world or economic world. World here he means as I always tell you, the birds and the trees and the nature process, which can include human beings also. Fusion. He feels one with them. That is the ultimate. Actually, this is a very gentle way of talking, enlightenment only, Naveen. Like we use the word genius in self to diminish the significance of Satori, that level of enlightened guy, actually. When I am talking about genius in self, I really mean genuine enlightenment or Satori, full understanding of yourself, full tuning with the universe. That does not mean that you don't eat chicken or you don't eat fish. You interact with the invariant of the universe. Because you are in tune with the invariant of the you. Get the point, Naveen? Yeah. What is your screen? Can you see my screen now? What is going on? Millions of reflections. I think countless reflections. How did it happen now? Anyway, it is very interesting. Because we are discussing a turning point thing. You see that these are all variants of your photos. Variants in size, okay? Variants in location. But the invariant is the same. The same Vinay is visible in all the varied pictures. The same Naveen is there. The same Sara is there. The same Tintin is there. The same Arjun is there. The same Ganesh is there. The same Parvati is there. And in the same screen, see what a work of the double. To give a direct demonstration of what is variation and what is invariant. You can replace each of these photographs with different profiles, actually. Okay? So in the first column, okay, Sara, Tintin, Naveen, Vinay, Arjun, Ganesh and Parvati. The second, it could be Maharunisa, Alexander the Great, or Chandragupta Maurya, or people sitting there. Variants of human entities. But the invariant is the same. Eyes and ears and nostrils and touch sensitivity and musical sensitivity and poetic sensitivity and literature sensitivity and other people's sensitivity and genius sensitivity now. But people are victims of the variance, Naveen. They say that photograph in the end we cannot see Naveen or Vinay. It is not visible. This photograph of Parvati looks different from the other photograph. His name is Abdul Kalam and his name is Narendra Prasad. He is from that community, he is from this community. He is undereducated, this is PhD. So they are victims of variance. Their sensitivities cannot break the boundaries of that variant controlled dog salivation and cut across and see the invariance equally obvious. Please don't think that I am saying more or less the same thing in different words. This is the essence of what all the great mystics said. But we have other utilities with the concept of variance and invariance. Most of those mystics talk about the variance of human entities and the invariant or the godliness equally present in them. I am not referring to that. I am talking about the same situations with the pencil and the pen and the paper and every activity. I am talking about variance and invariance in the context of you see varied situations, not objects or people. In varied situations you see the invariant. In varied episodes you see the invariant. In varied entities you see the invariant. You see the invariant in the... Though some Upanishadic mystics say that the invariant in the cat and the butterfly and the you is the same, I think only in the Upanishads. But actually the invariant in the bird and the snake and the butterfly and the ant and the earthworm and the you and the me are identical. Including in the invariant in the grass and the flowers and the trees. That is the variant invariant level I want you to penetrate and see the truth by your sharp sword of attention. And ultimately, the entire universe is nothing but an expression of the invariant, that particle wave translation. All the variations are. That's why I said it can explain everything. This explains why the world is an illusion. So reflect upon this and find out the variant, the pencil on your table and the invariant of a pencil. What is it? As an exercise. So that as soon as you come across any FIR, you get the truth. Because invariant is truth. Variant is manifest, visible, just variations. Like every mango tree of the same type will look different. But you will say it is the same Alfonso mango or whatever. Then you will see what is the real meaning of a rose. Is a rose is a rose. Then you will be able to penetrate across the stupid variations of the thoughts that disturb the mind and the invariant of the thought, which is nothing but a strategic silence of the original mind. If you use a variant, what is the invariant of the I? We talked about the common invariant of all human variations, that is level 1. And level 2, if I have a variant, what is the invariant of me? Invariant of that, so that invariant of that ever-changing mindset of, or ever-varying mindsets of me, varying from joy to depression, varying from whatever emotional variations, what is the invariant? Disturbing thought, positive thought, good thoughts, bad thoughts, depressing thought, intimidating thoughts, etc., etc. These are all variations of thoughts only. What is the invariant of that? Sensing the visible world, sensing the auditory world, sensing the touch world, sensing the texture of the world, sensing the distance of the world, outside, etc., etc. These are all variations of the pictures or angles of observation about the world around. From which you get an invariant perception of a unified world. You will not see a seen world different from the heard world. All these are combined together by the invariantness of the working of the engines of the intellect. So I am just giving examples of questions you have to originate in your mind using the framework of invariant and variant, because everything visible is a variant. Everything that can be sensed by the visual field or the auditory field, everything that exists in this planet Earth at least is a variant. Or because it is one of the variations. And for every variant, there must be an invariant from which that variant was formed. Find out the invariant of existence. Okay, I'm just giving you sample questions. You have to generate your own questions. What is that invariant in you? What is the invariant purpose of your existence? Across the varying purpose of buying a better car, buying a better mobile, buying a better computer, buying a better table, to buying a better house, to buying a better environment, to getting a good job. All these are beautiful variations, evolved higher order hierarchy of variations which you enjoy and appreciate and achieve. But what is that invariant? That is the invariant, the 12 attributes identified by Abraham Maslow. Of course, there are other attributes about genius also, because as the samples increase, there will be variations, because varied fields of creations. The variant, invariant structure of attributes of genius in physics will be different from that of medicine, with that of management, with that of philosophy, with that of music, with that of dance. So when the samples are widely varied, there are many more attributes which we will discuss subsequently, because you have to cross-check with those attributes. There is advantage of data, there is advantage of knowledge. As I told you, human beings are empty. We have to add on. We have to expand the horizon, expand the span of our attention and perception and sensitivity to as large as possible the wings of our fire, or what you call it, so that it will encompass as much variance and their invariance, so that you become a magnificent mystic who can guide anybody. I used to say, if Krishna wants some idea, I can give him. Of course, I don't have many of his ideas, but if he has a doubt, I am sure I will clarify. Using his own creativity, okay? That's the training you must develop. Like in Kung Fu, you defeat the opponent by his own power. You have to develop that ultimate power of your creative, analytic, reflective understanding to explain something to somebody, though you do not know that. You make him explain by using his own logic. It is definitely possible. In fact, today about 3 or 4 or 5 hours back, through somebody else's connection, he said that this girl is underdeveloped, some emotional problem, depression, etc. Do not interact with anybody sitting in the room, etc., 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 etc. Then I talked to the mother, made her some questions about her background, birth weight, birth condition, embryonic condition, etc., etc. Obviously there is some physical problem, but more than that is her mental, particular aloofness. She would not talk to anybody, just like that sitting in the room, but goes to the school and all that. So I did not ask whether she would talk to me, but her uncle said, would you like to talk to her? I said, if she talks to me, let her talk to me. Then to my surprise, she was ready to talk to me. Perhaps that is her luck. Within 10 minutes, I changed her name. She became so eloquent and so happily talking to me. Her name is, nothing to, because we have to do according to the situation. I have a recorder, I recorded it, which I don't normally do. I was repairing a recorder, so I just recorded it. I suppose it is recorded. Anyway, her name is Risa, R-I-S-A, Risa. Then I asked her, you know what is R-O-S-A? Sorry, R-O-S-C. She did not say that. Then her uncle clarified it. Then I said, R-I-S-A is said Risa, your name. Then how will you say R-O-S-C? Then she said Rose. And instantly I said, both are same. She asked how. I said, in language, in English language, I asked her, you know what is vowels? After some time she was in a doubt. Then I said, you are in class 11. You don't know what is vowels. Then she said, A, E, I, O, U. Okay. That is like in Malayalam, A, I, E, O, and all that, they are connecting consonants. So that means sounds. So R and S is consonant, both are identical in both the words. But one has the vowels I, A, so you call it Risa. Other has vowels O and D, therefore you call Rose. So both are more or less same. So can I call you Rose? She said, okay. Then I said, okay, Rose, you may have some problem. So I will call you Rosa Poo. Is it okay? She said, okay. Then I called her Rosa Poo. She said, no, okay. And I cut the phone. So it all happened in less than 7 minutes. So there is a way to enter the palace of the feudal chief, that is taking guard of the self-image of anybody. So therefore I called, you have to be a master thief to enter the palace of other mindsets. Because the way to the mind of A is different from the way to the mind of B. And when you are in tune with it, you will know what to talk. I did not prepare or anything. That's what happened to me. I said like that. And you have to be very genuine. You have to be very truthful. You have to be very genuinely concerned. In fact, to tell you the fact, she is the daughter of a woman whose brother I hate the most. For certain reasons. Hate meaning, I don't like him. He is that's a different story. But when she talked about the case of this girl, nothing matters. There is no past, there is no future. There is only the case of a girl. That's all, finished. Whom I have never seen, I will never see again. They said they are ready to come here. I said it is not required. I am sure within 1 week she will be a different person. I am very sure about that. Just by this dialogue. Just by her giving her a few moments of reflection when she goes to bed today. Oh, I am Rose also. And somebody called me Rosapu. These are all unusual. You have to create a mystery. You have to create a drama. Drama is very effective. That's why you see drama, or that's why you see films. You should have the freedom. That is that attribute of the genius, Very spontaneous. No inhibitions. You don't mind to talk dramatically. You will create a drama. Drama meaning this kind of a dialogue if it is required. That's all. And I am, who am I and who is she? She is a nobody. And she is the daughter of a rubber tapper. A very, very poor girl. And you can imagine what would be that girl looking like in a remote location somewhere. Absolutely uneducated parents. None of this matters. When you interact, make every interaction count. With the point, Parvati. Like in Titanic, Jack says, make every day count. Just don't not take life for granted. Half an hour gone today is half an hour gone today. We are all existing in duration of process, measured by time. And what are you waiting for? Do not wait. A lot of people want to do wonderful things of self-discovery or whatever it is. They are waiting. Even at the age of 75 and 80, they are waiting to discover their final self. People of the age of 80 and 82 still are victims of the vagaries of the mind-setting and emotions. Despite being religious, despite being respectable, despite being highly competent, still their behaviors are primitive. They know they are good at heart, but they are waiting for some more time to manifest it. Like some of the poor average students wait for the final day of the examination to prepare. That may be possible in the mechanical examination, but not in life. Alright, reflect on variant and invariant. Reflect on the variant of a pencil and see the invariant of the pencil. Reflect on the variant of a rose flower and find out the invariant of the rose flower. Look at the variant of a cup of tea in front of you and find out the invariant of that cup of tea. Or at least find out the invariant of that cup, because every cup is a variant. Every cup is one of the millions of cups in the world. Then what is the invariant of the cup, or what is the cuppiness of a cup? And from there to any level which you want to proceed. Okay? So subsequently we will talk about orbits and linkages. Then we will connect all these things, variant, invariant, orbit, linkage, intentionality, network, which is the entire universe, which you can be sure explaining every possible, probable entity, thing, episode, phenomena, including the whatever be the phenomena. They are all, entire universe according to me is nothing but an invariant, variant, orbit, intentionality, linkage, network. That's all, finished. Okay, 12 o'clock. So all the millions of variants of you, see, Actually, theoretically, this is infinite. Am I right, Vinay? Yeah. In this infinite variations of your profile, the invariant you is only one sitting there. Same is the universe. The entire varied manifestations of the grass and the plants and the trees and the rains and the mountains, earthworms and the elephants and the butterflies, the invariant is identical. There's only one and only one thing. Some people mistakenly call so-called God sitting somewhere. No, that invariant is present in every variant. That invariant of the universe is present in every variant, including a single subatomic particle. This is my declaration to the entire world of philosophers and mystics and seers, whoever existed in the past or present in the future. And that is my little bit of an egoism, to tell like this. I'm sure I don't care whether anybody knows it or not, but I really care, every one of you, to get to the grasp the invariant of what you have understood today. Alright? Okay, please be there. Just a minute, let me take a video shot of this unusual screen there. Otherwise people will think it is not a fact. I hope it is properly captured, not, let me see. Yeah, wonderful. So many variants of single invariants. Wonderful. Thanks a lot to every one of you. Bye, good night. And all these variants are cut off by a single shot of an invariant press on the return button. Wish you good luck and good night, Sora, Tintin, Navin, Vinay, Ganesh and Parvati.